question that I get asked all the time as a Lego investor is how many units should I invest in of each Lego set that I'm buying? If I want to buy a Lego set and then hold it while the value goes up, should I just get one of that Lego set? Should I get two and build one and then just sit on the other one? Or should I be buying 5, 10, 20, 30, 100 of those Lego sets? How many can I conceivably buy and be able to sell without any trouble? Are there liquidity problems? Is there a chance that I won't be able to sell all of the units that I buy? That's what we're going to talk about here in this video, and I'm going to do it by giving some of my real numbers. I'm going to share with you the exact number of a handful of different sets that I sold to show you some examples of how I have been doing it over the last couple of years in terms of the number of units that I sell. Okay, so that's what we're focusing on here, is the number of units of each of these sales that I made in my Lego investing business. And if you love the fact that I'm sharing transparent numbers of my actual business, please do hit that subscribe button because there's plenty more coming on that front. Now, I do want to start off by saying this is going to depend on where you are, what market you are in, and what marketplace you are selling on, because the volume will be different. The number of units that you can sell without any trouble will depend on the demand for Lego sets in your market and also the demand on the specific marketplace that you are selling on. Now, what do I mean by marketplace? I'm talking about Amazon, eBay, or Bricklink, or something like Mercari, or OfferUp, or any of the other countless marketplaces that are out there, like Facebook Marketplace. There's a lot of different ways you could sell Lego sets, and each one of them is going to have a different answer in terms of how many units you should buy that you could sell easily on that platform. For me, I sell on Amazon in the United States, and in the US the demand for Lego is huge, and of course it is a big market, and so I have the benefit of being able to sell to the entire market of the US, and I do it on Amazon, which is the biggest marketplace in the US. So the platform that I have chosen in my market positions me in a place where I can sell large amounts of volume to my audience, because my audience is everyone who goes on Amazon.com looking for Lego sets. And over the years I have learned to get comfortable with having more units of a Lego set because I've understood that I can sell them reasonably quickly on Amazon. The demand for Lego sets on Amazon, honestly, it still surprises me to this day, especially during Q4, during the busy holiday period. Some of these Lego sets I could move through a lot of units of it within a day or 2 days. But again, it's not going to be like that in every market in the world and on every marketplace. If I'm selling on Bricklink, then I might be reducing the quantities down a little bit when compared to selling on Amazon, because the Bricklink is simply a smaller marketplace overall. It is more of a niche marketplace. It is more specific Lego fans that go there, whereas Amazon is the broader marketplace of everybody plus their grandmother. So these are the things you got to consider when you're thinking about the quantity. The other thing about quantity of units is really that it's just going to take you some time to learn where you want to land on this, because when you first start out as a Lego investor, I don't advise you to go super deep on anything because you're still learning about how to pick the right sets. So going wider in the beginning makes more sense. Now, we could talk all day about the whole conversation of deep versus wide, and we will make more videos explaining more of that. But just broadly, the point here is in the beginning, you should go a little bit wider. And then as you progress in your Lego investing business year over year and you're increasing your knowledge, you're getting better at this thing, you can start to increase the number of units that you buy of each set. How much should you increase it by? Again, that's going to depend on your marketplace and your comfort level, but I'm going to share with you some of my numbers so that you get some idea of what I do. And with that, let's just jump into the fun stuff here. So the first one I'm going to show you here is Speed Champions McLaren Senna. There's going to be a handful of Speed Champion sets on this list, and there's a reason for that, because I wanted to show you some sets that I sell larger volumes of. If we're talking about modular buildings, $200 buildings, I don't sell 70 units of those typically. I'm not quite at that level just yet. But when it comes to Speed Champion sets, I sell 75, I sell 100, I sell 150 of these sets, no problem, because these are cheaper sets, of course. So I think about it like the dollar amount. I think, how much money do I want to invest in this Lego set? And then I get the number of units to be able to invest that amount of money. So naturally, that means I would get fewer units of larger sets, but more units of cheaper sets. This is also the way I recommend that you do it. And the reason for that is naturally things sell more quantity when they are cheaper stuff, because more people can afford them, more people will want them. And so cheaper Lego sets typically sell more volume than more expensive Lego sets. And that is regardless of how good that larger Lego set is. It will just most likely sell fewer units than a small, cheap Speed Champion set. And you should adjust your units and your buying strategy according to that. But the natural way to do it is to simply think about it in dollar value. So if you want to invest $5,000 in a Speed Champion set, then figure out how many units you need to buy to invest that $5,000. Likewise, if you want to invest that same $5,000 into a modular building, you will buy fewer units, but the value will be balanced. And so that's how I think about my inventory sourcing in my business. So the McLaren Senna, set number 75892, 219 pieces, a $15 set. It was released back in January 2019. It retired in July 2021. So we're looking back a couple of years now with this one. But this is interesting for me because this was the start of me starting to go a lot deeper. Back in 2019, 2020, around this time frame is when I started to go a little bit deeper, and I would have previously bought fewer units and gone a bit wider, and I started to narrow in my focus significantly, started to go deeper on sets. So I bought 75 units of this one at $12 a piece on average, and I ended up selling them for $35. So those 75 units sold for $35. I got 100% return on investment on this, so that was doubling my money, and there was a total profit of $900. So again, bought these for $12 a piece, but sold 75 of them, made $900 on this investment. And again, 100% return. I could always look back and wish that I bought more of these, but this one was a little bit of a longer hold time than what I was hoping for with this set, but still 100% return, not bad. 75 units on the McLaren Senna. So what's next here? So next up we have another Speed Champion set. This is the Chevrolet Camaro, 75891, 198 pieces, a $15 set. This was again January 2019 release date. This retired in July of 2021. Now I bought these for 12, sold these for 33, and I had more units of this one. I had 90 units of this, 88% return on investment, $945 total profit on this investment. So the number of units I bought on this one, a little bit more than that McLaren Senna. Again, that's reflecting what I felt was going to be a better investment. I was a little bit more excited about the Camaro over that McLaren when it comes to its investment prospects. Ended up selling for 33 versus 35, so I actually sold the McLarens a little bit higher of a price, but still got an 88% return on the Camaro, so I was happy with that as an investment. Looking at number 6 now, and this is a Star Wars set. So this is the 501st Legion Clone Troopers, 75280 with 285 pieces. It's a $30 set, so this is an illustration of we don't need the set to be $12 in order to get a good number of them. Now this was released in August 2020, retired in December of 2022, and I bought 60 units of this set. I bought them for $22, sold for $64. So this ended up being a great investment. Again, just about a year after retirement is when I was able to sell these for $64 after buying for $22. Really good return on investment of 115% on these 60 units. And do I wish that I bought more of the 501st Legion Clone Troopers? Of course I do. Absolutely great investment, 115% in just a year. And it's after accounting for subtracting the fees and shipping and everything that I got the 115% return on investment. So 1,515 total profit on this investment with 60 units. And again, these were sold very quickly. I moved through these units on Amazon in the US very fast. So I had 60 units, but I would have had no problem having double or triple that amount of this set. So that is the 501st Legion Clone Troopers. Next up, we have the Armored Assault Tank, AAT. This is another Star Wars set, 75283 with 286 pieces and a $40 MSRP. Released in August of 2020, also retired in December of 2022. So this is just over a year ago that this set retired. Bought these for $29. Again, it was a $40 MSRP, so I was able to get a discount on those. Bought them for $29 approximately, sold for $67. And you know what? I actually think that this bought for price is a bit high because I actually got Kohl's cash as well that I don't think we have included here in the numbers. So we got a lot of Kohl's cash for this deal. This was a deal in Kohl's in the US. Ended up being a phenomenal deal. When we calculate that in, I actually remember this was more like a $22 or $23 purchase price, but let's just forget about that and just go with this. The actual number that we paid was $29, sold for $67. So again, after a year, buying for $30 and selling for $67, not bad. And we bought 80 units of this set, 72% return on investment, just barely make it into my target. I usually do like to aim for 70 to 100% returns within a year on my Lego investing. That is my target, and this barely made it in with 72% return. But again, if we factored in the Kohl's cash and the extra value that that brought to me, this would be a lot of a higher return on investment. Still 72% of cold hard return on investment on this one, $1,680 profit on this investment, and 80 units. Would I have bought more units of this? Again, this moved very quickly for me. When you talk about Star Wars and you talk about Amazon and you talk about Q4 and the demand that exists for these sets at $67, absolutely I could have sold double, triple the amount of this set. So I had 80 units and sold through them pretty quickly. So that is the Armored Assault Tank. Now, what else do we have here? We have another Speed Champion set with a 1985 Audi Sport Quattro S1. This is 75897. Now, you're probably wondering at this point, Shane, do you just go for all Speed Champion sets? This used to be the case. That's why we see a lot of Speed Champion sets here now, because I used to just buy them all. In 2024, do I think that that's a great strategy? Not as much, because I do think that there has been an increase in the supply over the years. We see worse performance on the McLaren Elva, for example, that retired at the end of 2022, but it remains to be seen what's going to happen of the most recent retirees in Speed Champions. I'll be interested to watch it. But yes, for a few years there, I was all in on Speed Champions. This was 250 piece set, $20 purchase price, of course. The first wave of the 8 stud Speed Champion sets released in January 2020, retired in December of 2021. Now, I bought these for $16, ended up selling this one for $48. So this was a really good investment. 155 units is what I had of this one. So again, this was a time period for me where I was going deeper and deeper into the units of inventory that I was buying. I was getting more units. I was pushing the boat a little bit. 155 units, 112% return on investment on this one. Ended up being a profit of $2,790 on this investment. Once again, that's after all fees, after all shipping, everything is covered. $2,790 back in profit, plus my cost of the inventory. Of course, I would get that back as well with this $2,790 of profit. So that is number 4. Number 3, we have Speed Champions 1974 Porsche 911 75895, 180 pieces. And again, this is looking back at the old 6 stud sets, the final wave of 6 stud Speed Champion sets that used to have an MSRP of $15. Those were the days you could get Speed Champions for $15. Released in August 2019, retired in July 2021. And this was an anomaly because this one outperformed some of the others that retired around the same time as this. There were 4, and this was like a bonus Speed Champion set that really ended up taking off quite nicely pretty quickly. So I bought these for $12 and sold them for $47. Now, I started selling these at the year before in 2022 and finished selling them in 2023. So this is an average of 2 years of sales. That's why we've called that out here on the slide. 145 units overall. So 145 quantity of this set is what we sold. 88% return on investment. Total profit $3,250 on this particular investment. Pretty good going on this 88% return from that $12 purchase price. 145 units. Next up, we have another Star Wars set here with the Mandalorian Starfighter 75316, 544 pieces, $60 MSRP. Now, this one was released in August of 2021, retired at the end of 2022, so just over a year ago now. We bought these for $40, and again, this was another case where we also got some cold cash on top of that, but let's just use the actual number here of 40. Sold for 93 on Amazon in the US, so that is 120 units that we bought for $93. That's a return on investment of 75% after we pay all of our fees and shipping and everything like that. Total profit on this investment of $3,600 for the Mandalorian Starfighter. Ended up being a really solid investment because we got it at a pretty good deal. Again, it's a $60 MSRP, but we bought our units for $40. 120 units of this one. I think we got a good number of these. I was happy with this quantity. Definitely could have increased it. We could have sold a lot more of these. We moved through them quickly, just like the others we're talking about here. But 120, I feel like we put a good effort into this set, and it paid us dividends back with $3,600 of profit. And now looking at the last set here on this list, it is a Harry Potter set. So this is Harry Potter Hagrid's Hut 75947, 496 pieces with an MSRP of $60. Released in June 2019, retired in December of 2021. We got these for half price. So that is where we made a lot of our profit here, because again, this was a great purchase. It was half price. It was a $60 MSRP. We bought them for $30. We sold them for $83. So when you're buying for $30 and you're selling for $83, you're doing pretty well at that point. It was an 85% return on investment, and we had 155 units of this set because again, the deal was too good to pass up, so we went pretty deep on it. 155 units of the Hagrid Hut. We ended up making $3,955 in profit after all expenses are covered and after paying for the inventory. So almost $4K from this investment because we bought 155 units. So folks, I hope that these examples show you that, you know, you get that bigger profit number by going a little bit deeper into these units, because when they turn out to be great investments, 70, 75, 80, 85 or 100 and plus % return on investment, then you're going to wish that you had more units of it if you live in a market that has a lot of Lego demand and you're using a marketplace that has a lot of Lego demand. By the way, you don't need to sell on Amazon to be able to sell a lot of units. I also sell on eBay, and Lego demand on eBay in the US is also phenomenal, especially during Q4. So if you want to move a lot of units, you can target the Q4 time period, the holiday season. That is the season for demand of Lego sets. And even if you sell on other marketplaces like eBay, you should be able to sell a good number. I can't tell you an exact number that you should be aiming for of sets, and nobody should be telling you that, because it's going to depend on your market, it's going to depend on the set, it's going to depend on the theme, it's going to depend on the time of year that you plan to sell, but most importantly, it's going to depend on the price of your set. Just remember, cheaper sets will move more units than more expensive sets, and so think about it in dollar value, not in quantity units, when you are thinking about how much money to invest into a set. But here I just wanted to share some examples of sales that we have made and the units and the numbers that we can move, so that you see what may be possible and you don't worry too much about being able to move your inventory. If you live in a market that has a lot of demand, you will not have a problem moving inventory of Lego sets, especially during Q4. And I have a lot more examples like this one, of course. These are just some sales that we made throughout 2023, and we've been looking back at our sales for the last year, and so these are some examples that I pulled out. But right now my strategy is to go deep on sets that I invest in. I get fewer units and I go deep because I've been doing this for a couple of years. Once again, I want to repeat that if you are a newer Lego investor, I do think you should go a bit wider and don't get that much quantity, because you need to learn about what sells well, you need to learn about which sets are the right ones to pick. But after a couple of years, naturally I think you're going to start to move in this direction where you get more units of the inventory that you invest in. And I'm going bigger and bigger each year when it comes to the quantities that I invest in, and even to this day I'm still doubling down on quantities and pushing the limits on how many units that I can sell, because I'm always surprised every Q4 at how fast I can move my inventory. So I hope you found this helpful, and again, if you did find it helpful, please make sure you subscribe down below. And when you're down there is a link to a book that I wrote that explains exactly how to pick the right sets to invest in. So if you want to learn how to invest in Lego sets, how to pick the right sets, you don't want to miss out on that book. So grab the link in the description down below. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from brickbucks.net, and don't forget this year to lift off and be free.